Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you for joining this morning. Srimad Bhagavatam class and attentive japa. We have been talking about Kardama Muni, and last time he met with Manu, his father-in-law to be, and the Lord had already told him that Manu will come and see him with his wife and his daughter, and that happened on the last Friday, and today we're saying that Kardama Muni and Devhuti did get married. He agreed to the marriage. They got married and they had 9 daughters. And a son is on the way. And we know who that is, Kapil Muni. So Maitreya is explaining to Vidur. He's saying, "O killer of the enemy, the unborn Lord Brahma, who is almost independent in acquiring knowledge, could understand that a portion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his quality of pure existence, had appeared in the womb of Devhuti, just to explain the complete state of knowledge known as Sankhya Yoga." So Lord Brahma comes to see Kardama Muni, and he already knows that this is happening now. The Lord is descending and is coming in the form of Kapil Muni. So Kapil, the son of Kardama Muni, in his system of Sankhya Yoga philosophy, very explicitly explained not only the material world, but also the spiritual world. Brahma could understand this fact because he is Savarat, almost independent in receiving knowledge. He is called Savarat because he did not go to any school or college to learn, but learned everything from within the heart. And because Brahma is the first living creature within this universe, he had no teacher. His teacher was the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, who is seated in the heart of every living creature. And when the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears, he brings with him all his paraphernalia of Vaikuntha. Therefore, his name is, his form, his quality, his paraphernalia, and his entourage all belong to the transcendental world. So when Lord comes, everything with him that belongs to him or associate with him is transcendental. Real goodness is in the transcendental world. Here in the material world, the quality of goodness is not pure. Goodness may exist, but there must also be some tinges of passion and ignorance. I mean, after all, this material world is made of 3 modes of nature. So they all have their part to play. It doesn't matter how much priority we give to goodness, the other 2 modes are also competing for their position in this material world. They have their task too. So there's always competition going on between the 3 modes. But it's mentioned that in the transcendental world, only real goodness exists. So Krishna appeared as Kapila Dev in portion of his portion. God expands either as Kala or Amsha. Amsha means direct expansion, and Kala means expansion of the expansion. So this is what it is, expansion of the expansion. There is no difference between the expansion of the expansion, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead directly, as there is no difference between one candle and another. But still, the candle from which the others are lit is called the original candle. This is the difference. Krishna is therefore called the Par Brahman, or the ultimate Godhead and cause of all causes. He is the original. So let's do a quick prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim. Yat Kirpatam Hamande Shri Guru Din Taranam Paramananda Madhvam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tassat. Narayana Skritya Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tapo Yam Udiriyat Nasta Presha Udareshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloka Bhakti Bhagavati Nestaki. Hare Krishna. So after worshipping the Supreme Lord with gladdened senses and a pure heart for his intended activities as an incarnation, Brahma spoke as follows to Kardama and Devhuti. So Lord Brahma is there. He's the father of Kardama, and now he's going to speak. So as explained in Bhagavad-Gita, 4th chapter, anyone who understands the transcendental activities, the appearance and the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is to be considered liberated. So once you have understood God's activities, you are considered self-liberated. Brahma is therefore a liberated soul, although he's in charge of this material world. He's not exactly like the common living entity, since he is liberated from the majority of the follies of the common living entities. He was in knowledge of the appearance of the Supreme Personality Godhead, and he therefore worshipped the Lord's activities, and with a glad heart, he also praised Kardama Muni, because the Supreme Personality Godhead as Kapila had appeared as his son. So, you must be exalted. You must be exalted father to have God as your son. So, it's praiseworthy. Had appeared his son, one who can become the father of the Supreme Personality Godhead is certainly a great devotee. And it's mentioned by Prabhupada that there's a verse spoken by Brahma, by a Brahman, in which he says that he does not know what the Vedas and the Puranas are. But while others might be interested in the Vedas or Puranas, he is interested in Nanda Maharaj, who appeared as the father of Krishna. So we glorifying the fathers of Lord Krishna now. The Brahmana wanted to worship Nanda Maharaj because the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a child crawled in the yard of his house. These are some of the good sentiments of devotees. If a recognized devotee brings forth the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, how he should be praised. Therefore, Brahma not only worshipped the incarnation of Godhead Kapila, but also his father Kardama Muni. This is amazing. And that's called Rag Atmika worship, when you're worshipping a known personality, exalted personality like Nand Maharaj or Kardama Muni. So Lord Brahma said, my dear son Kardama, since you have completely accepted my instructions without duplicity, showing them proper respect, you have worshipped me properly. Whatever instructions you took from me, you have carried out, and thereby you have honored me. So it seems like that Lord Brahma, the father of Kardama Muni, they had some kind of agreement that Kardama, although he was a yogi, he's been worshipping, doing yoga meditation for thousands of years, but I think Brahma ji convinced him to have progeny to help him with his task, and Kardama, as an obeying son, agreed to do that. And obviously he would have said that, okay, for the time being I can help you, but then really once I've done that, I need to get back to my real task in hand, and hopefully that's what he will do. So Lord Brahma, as the first living entity within the universe, is supposed to be the spiritual master of everyone, and is also the father, the creator of all living beings. Kardama Muni is one of the Prajapatis, or creators of the living entities, and is also a son of Brahma. So Brahma praises Kardama because he carried out the orders of the spiritual master in toto and without cheating. A conditioned soul in the material world has the disqualification of cheating. So this is our four deficiencies that we have. He has four disqualifications. He's sure to commit mistakes. This includes all of us. Sure to commit mistakes. He's sure to be illusioned. He's prone to cheat others, and his senses are imperfect. And I think if we analyze ourselves and maybe some other people, we can see that these do manifest in all of us. It's just a natural thing. But if one carries out the order of the spiritual master by disciplic succession or the parampara system, he overcomes the 4 defects. Therefore, knowledge received from the bona fide spiritual master is not cheating. Any other knowledge which is manufactured by the conditioned soul is cheating only, because this disciplic succession, as you know, or the parampara system, knowledge comes directly from the Lord himself, from Krishna. So Brahma knew very well that Kardama Muni exactly carried out the instructions received from him, and that he actually honored his spiritual master. To honor the spiritual master means to carry out his instructions word for word. So if you want to praise your spiritual master, you want to honor him, then you follow his instructions. Spiritual master is not always there in his physical body in front of you, but if you follow his instructions like Srila Prabhupada, then that's the best way you can honor him. Sons ought to render service to their father exactly to this extent. One should obey the command of his father or spiritual master with due deference, saying, "Yes, sir." The son or disciple should accept the words of his spiritual master and father without hesitation. Whatever the father and the spiritual master order should be taken without argument. Always, yes. There should be no instance in which the disciple or the son says, "This is not correct, I cannot carry it out." Well, this is what we most of us do, but that's the perfect way. When he says that, he is fallen. So this your Prabhupada says, we are all fallen. The father and spiritual master are on the same platform because the spiritual master is the second father. There must be, the higher classes are called Dvijya, twice born. Whenever there is a question of birth, there must be a father. The first birth is made possible by the actual father who gives us the body. And the second birth is made possible by the spiritual master. Sometimes the father and the spiritual master may be the same man, and sometimes they are different men. In any case, the order of the father of the order of the spiritual master must be carried out without hesitation, with an immediate yes. There should be no argument. That is real service to the father and the spiritual master. Normally, we try and argue it out so we can get out of the service rather than say yes and do it. You know, we want to see if we can get the upper hand on the service, so we don't need to do it. As a man cannot separate his life from his body, a disciple cannot separate the order of the spiritual master from his life. If a disciple follows the instruction of the spiritual master in that way, he is sure to become perfect. So that is the way to advance. So Lord Brahma then praised Kardama Muni's 9 daughters. So they have 9 daughters now. And Lord Brahma, after praising Kardama Muni, is now praising the daughters or his granddaughters, we could say, saying, "All your thin-waisted daughters are certainly very chaste. I'm sure they will increase this creation by their own descendants in various ways." So in the beginning of creation, Brahma was concerned more or less with increasing the population. And when he saw that Kardama Muni had already begotten 9 nice daughters, he was hopeful that through the daughters, many children would come who would take charge of the creative principle of the material world. He was therefore happy to see them. So the daughters were very attractive, they were strong, and Brahmaji was happy that they will bring forth a lot of progeny. "Oh Kardama, I know that the original Supreme Personal Godhead has now appeared as an incarnation by his internal energy. He is the bestower of all that is desired by the living entities, and he has now assumed the body of Kapila Muni." So Brahmaji has already told now to Kardama that Kapila Muni is on his way and is the Supreme Personal Godhead himself. The Supreme Personal Godhead is everlastingly, eternally the form of Purusha, the predominator or enjoyer. And when he appears, he never accepts anything of this material energy. The spiritual world is a manifestation of his personal internal potency, whereas the material world is a manifestation of his material or differentiated energy. So whenever the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends, he comes in his own energy. He may assume the body of a human being, but that body is really not material. In the Vedas, also it is stated that he is the chief living entity and that he bestows all the desired necessities of other living entities, because he is the bestower of the necessities of all others. He is called God. The Supreme is also a living entity. He is not impersonal, as we are individual. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is also individual. And this is something that Sri Prabhupada has taught us, that we are all living entities. We are individual souls. We're not just one soul in many fragments. We are individual souls. Just like the Lord himself, he is also individual. And he is the Paramatma. But he is the supreme individual. That is the difference between God and the ordinary living entity. We are limited, he is unlimited. We are tiny, and he is the greatest. Lord Brahma then told Devahuti. So now Lord Brahma turns to his daughter-in-law. My dear daughter of Manu, the same Supreme Personality of Godhead who killed the demon Kaitaba is now within your womb. He will cut off all the knots of your ignorance and doubt. Then he will travel all over the world. So he's telling Devahuti as well that he will help you to get liberation, to get knowledge. Every one of us is a spirit soul, but we have forgotten. We think I am this body, this called avidya, samshaya granthi, which means doubtfulness. We always have some doubts, don't we? The knot of doubtfulness is tied when the soul identifies with the material world. And that knot is called hankar. Hankar would say ignorance, the junction of matter and spirit. So we confuse, this is the thing, we confuse the matter and material matter and spirit with a confusion. Because we think we are this matter, we think we are this material mind as well and material body. So we are a little bit confused. We don't understand the difference between spirit and matter. By proper knowledge received from the scriptures in disciplic succession, and by proper application of that knowledge, one can free himself from this binding combination of matter and spirit. Brahma shows Devahuti that her son will enlighten her, and after enlightening her, he will travel all over the world, distributing the system of Sankhya philosophy. So when God descends, he doesn't descend for his little inner circle of family. He descends for the whole of the world, the whole of the planet. Just like Lord Krishna, he was in so many different places before he left this world. Your son will be the head of the perfected souls. He will be approved by the acharyas, expert in disseminating real knowledge. And among the people, he will be celebrated by the name Kapila as the son of Devahuti. So he made his parents famous as well. He will increase your fame. And he has, because we all know Devahuti, we know Kardama Muni, because they were parents of Kapil Muni. Sankhya philosophy is the philosophical system enunciated by Kapila, the son of Devahuti. This is a statement of Brahma. And because we belong to the Brahma disciplic section, we should accept the statement that the real Kapila is the son of Devahuti, and that real Sankhya philosophy is the system of philosophy which is introduced by and which will be accepted by the acharyas, the directors of spiritual discipline. And this is what we accept. So Shri Maitreya said, now we're going back to Maitreya Muni talking to Vidur. After thus speaking to Kardama Muni and his wife Devahuti, Lord Brahma, the creator of the universe, who is also known as Hamsa, went back to the highest of the three planetary system on his swan carrier with the four Kumaras and Narad. Now it's mentioned that they all came together. The four Kumaras were with him, and Narad Muni was with him as well when they came. And all his sons, they came to see the brother. Hansa Yan, the airplane by which Brahma travels all over outer space, resembles a swan. Brahma is also known as Hamsa because he can grasp the essence of everything. His abode is called Tridham Paramam. Or say Paramam. There are three divisions of the universe: the upper planet systems, the middle planetary system, and the lower planetary system. But his abode is above even the Siddhalok, the upper planet system. He returned to his own planet with four Kumaras and Narad because they were not going to be married. So basically what happened, well, it's explained anyway, that the other rishis who came with him, such as Marichi and Atri, he remained there because they were to be married to the daughters of Kardama. But his other sons, Sanak, Sanatan, and Narad, went back with him in his swan-shaped airplane. They were not to attend the marriage ceremony of their other brothers, Marichi and the other sages, and therefore they went back with their father, Hamsa. O Vidur, after the departure of Brahma, Kardama Muni, having been ordered by Brahma, handed over his 9 daughters as instructed to the 9 great sages who created the population of the world. So this is amazing. And this is how far we get with this today. And just want to welcome you all. Rukmani Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Madhav Shamsundar Prabhu, Partha Prabhu, Parveen Mataji, Sopam Prabhu, and Vrindavani Mataji. And Sapna Mataji just joined us. Thank you very much all for joining. And this is amazing pastime. And Kardama Muni is made a lot of sacrifices and is done exactly as his father has instructed him. And by God's grace, they have 9 daughters, and they will now carry out increasing the progeny. The exalted rishis are to be married with them, and they will increase the population as instructed by the Lord to Brahma. And then Brahma instructs his sons, and now the father obviously will instruct his daughters and his son-in-laws that they help him in increasing progeny. Thank you so much, and we'd like to hear your views and how you found this pastime. Rukmini Mataji, we'll start with you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Very nice speech of this Kardama Muni and his family and his daughter. A very big family, Prabhuji. And very interesting. So it is not happening in this today Kali Yuga. Anything is not compared with them. They are all spiritual minded, and we can't even think that we can do anything from that. Only one person we can't follow to them. And very, 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 very interesting and surprising. I like this life of this Kardama Muni and their daughters and their son-in-law. All spiritual soul, Prabhuji.
Sure. So there's a lot of mention of the sons following the instructions of their father. So do you think that's possible nowadays, the way it's mentioned, Mataji?
Sorry, Prabhuji, say it again.
Here, the Lord Brahma mentions, or Sri Prabhupada actually mentions that the sons should completely follow the orders of their father. Is that possible, you think?
No, it's not possible. All sons are not like Dhruv and Prahlad. So it's impossible. In this Kali Yuga, nothing is possible. It depends upon their brought up, how they are brought up in a spiritual life or a material life. But today, material life is we are all in a material world. We can't give guarantee for anybody. We can't trust anybody. So it's difficult to say. And association also helps if they are in a life of this spiritual relatives, and everything depends upon their brought up. So very, very difficult to say today's life. And we have to say thanks to Lord Krishna. At least we have a material body, but inside our heart, in our body, there is a spiritual soul. So we should be thankful to Krishna that spiritual soul we have given. So we should be very, very thankful to Lord. So we can try, and we have to be a good association. Always try to be with Friday Sangha. Is it right, Prabhuji?
Absolutely wonderful, wonderful comments, Mataji. Yes, you're absolutely right. We are so much reliant on how we are brought up and on our society, on our association. So there's a lot of factors that affect our behavior. I mean, we already have the 4 defects, and on top of that, how our surroundings, upbringing, our genetics are very important on our behavior. So things, it's a Kali Yuga, and things have declined a lot since this past time. So yeah, it is difficult for us, but it's mentioned that the spiritual master is also our father. Now, we may not have been great sons, but we can try to be, we can at least try to be good disciples and follow the instructions of our spiritual master, or our father, the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and our initiated guru. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Jai Prabhuji, Hari Bol.
Yeah. So because I missed last week, I read the wrong stuff. So I mean, I can't give it something like I usually do. I just jotted down a few points, but it's like, because there's the announcements made after the recording stopped on the Friday, and I don't think the announcement there's any announcements made on the Sunday Sangha. They're going to stop anyway now, and I mean, usually for other groups, we get told what's due next week. But I'll just jotted down a few points. I'll mention that. So real goodness is in the spiritual world. So conditioned cells are prone to 4 weaknesses, including things like cheating, mistakes, and so on. So the son should accept the word of the Father and the spiritual master. So when the Lord, the Supreme Personality of God, descends, he comes down in his own energy, and Kapil Dev, he's the starter of the Sankhya philosophy. So I'll leave you there.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you, Pastor Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Such a nice class, Prabhuji. In Vrindavan Mataji's Bhagavatam discussion, when we had this discussion on this particular topic, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
I had one question where it is said that like the spiritual master and father, they are one and the same.
Yeah.
And you have to obey the orders of them without any argument. So I had a doubt, like normally we have a biological father and they are in a different mode, spiritual master in a different mode. So if both of them give some instructions, and if they are contradicting to each other, then what should be done? Then Kamalakant Prabhu explained, if I remember correctly, Prabhuji, like as in Canto 1, it says like in the chapter 1 itself, that anything which you do which doesn't provoke your spirituality, then that srama kevalam, that's only srama, but it's of no use. So in the same way, Kamakam Prabhu said, anyone give you instruction which increases your spirituality, follow that instruction. It's not the spiritual master or father, but general spiritual master anyhow, he'll give the all the ideas only that will provoke our that will invoke our spirituality. So he mentioned that follow the instructions which will give you spirituality. That's what, Prabhuji. That's all.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Absolutely. If the instructions of the father and the spiritual master are different, then you would take the instruction of the spiritual master, because you can leave your dharma, which is to obey the instructions of your father, for spirituality. Spirituality comes first, or devotion comes before dharma, as Lord Krishna explained in the first chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, that devotion is morality, and the dharma. Well, I wouldn't say dharma, I said morality is below dharma of the Lord, our eternal dharma, which is to follow the instructions of Lord Krishna or spiritual master, same instructions. And now, even if you're doubtful of the instructions of your spiritual master, then obviously there's the sadhu and shastra. There's like those 3 checks anyway. So if you doubt something in the shastras, you can ask the sadhu or spiritual master. If you doubt something of the sadhu, you can ask the spiritual master and the shastras. Or if you doubt your spiritual master, then you can ask sadhus and check with the shastras that is this information, what I've been told, is it correct? So you should always check if you're not sure. And I think that's the way to go. What do you think, bro?
That's nice, Prabhuji. That's nice, Prabhuji. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
That's all right. Yeah, Prabhu, just want to share like with this group that I recently passed out my Guru Disciple course.
Excellent. Yeah.
That's very nice. Like when I did that course, I felt like that particular Guru Disciple course manual. I mean, every week once we have to read that whole book.
Mm-hmm.
That helps you to connect to spiritual master more nicely. That's what I felt, Prabhuji.
Very good, Prabhu. Very good. Thank you, Prabhuji. Parveen Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. A very nice Partha Prabhu. Congratulations on passing Guru and Disciple course, and you can share more wisdom with us as well. So yeah, this is what I'm taking from here, the importance of the spiritual master, Prabhuji. Like you said, by following the orders of a spiritual master word to word, we can overcome the 4 defects in our life. And then the importance of father as well. So like you asked Mataji about the questions of what I think, why children, they don't want to listen to their parents now, is the lack of the spiritual life at home. So if we have that culture at home, then children, obviously, they follow because they have read the Shastra, they have heard the stories. But now children, what I get to hear, not from my children, but like other people, my friends, because like I'm looking after my in-laws, and then they're just saying, oh, I've got life, I've got this, because even children, they just pay more importance to what is their life. Like for us, it was like my thing was like, okay, because my in-laws, they haven't been spiritual all their lives, so at least I can feed them, prasadam now, so which should help them in their next life. So maybe I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't in contact with Krishna consciousness. Maybe I would have been thinking the other way as well. Oh, I've got life, I want to do other things. So I think that is the importance of reading Shastras. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving us this every week. And a big thank you to Srila Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we are very, very fortunate to have these classes and Srimad Bhagavatam and Gita at home, so we can,
Thank you, Mataji.
try to be in the mode of goodness rather than being in ignorance and passion. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. You're absolutely right. Prabhupada has given this platform, And if we don't use it, then it's our loss. Why shouldn't we use it? It's there. It's provided for us for our use, and we should make the most of this this information and knowledge that he left us. And this is a Prabhupada. He always wanted everything recorded, everything recorded, because he doesn't want it to be lost. He wants us to use this information and at once and go back home. And you're right, it's about the spirituality. This is why we have to, and a lot of people do, we start our children young into spirituality, and so they become good human beings. Because otherwise, we are really not much better than the animals. Our behavior, when we go into spirituality, we go as animals, because we're doing everything the animals doing. We don't know anything else. Eating, sleeping, mating, defending, just like the animals are doing. That is an animal behavior. So, sorry. Okay. So we move on from the animal behavior to human behavior by our what knowledge we gain from our spiritual master. And so, but one thing is that I've noticed that, okay, people take the children, whatever faith they have, they take the children to that faith, but still there's a lot of children still misbehave. A lot of children still, the behavior is not good, even though they are following their parents. So something is missing with the Hare Krishna movement. The special thing is that we have this chanting process, which is very, very important, that we constantly chant every day. This process is brilliant, because just belonging to some organization, which most people think that just because we belong to this organization, we have automatically, become spiritual, but that doesn't seem to be the case, because these people, children, they commit crimes and everything, although they might be going to the temple or this or the society, but it hasn't really helped them. So the chanting, hearing and chanting is very, very important. Reading is very important. Serving is very important. And most of all, following the different regulations is very important. This is a discipline we need to be good human beings. And this is why these regulations are there, to make us human rather than an animal. So this is the beauty of this is International Society of Krishna Consciousness.
And also the other point, sorry, Prabhuji, sorry, I'm interrupting you. The other point is the availability of the Shastras. Like now, with a touch of a finger, we can just, find anything on the internet. So when I want to look at a shloka, if I just remember one word, and there you are. And before, like many years ago, so there used to be Vrindavan Prabhu was saying there used to be only one copy of Srimad Bhagavatam, and everybody would travel there. So how fortunate we are, we got access to, the Shastra anytime. We are very, very fortunate.
Absolutely.
We should use this opportunity, yes. Thank you.
Sorry, Madhuri. Yeah, I was going to say, it couldn't be easier, what we have now. I remember back in the 70s and 80s that you want any information, you have to go to the library for it. And like you said, Bhagavad-Gita wasn't that much available. At least I didn't know about it. And I always wanted to read the Bhagavad-Gita because it's a big thing for us, for Indians. It's a very big thing. And always wanted to read it, but never had the opportunity because it wasn't readily available. Somebody, basically, if it's in your house, and sometimes you just would pick it up and start reading it, but you don't always make the extra effort to find it because there's so much other going on in your life. So this is amazing that how every information is at fingertips right now. So, and we don't take advantage of that, then we are very unfortunate. So thank you so much. We'll do a couple of rounds. Maybe Rukmani Mataji could do a round, and then Parveen Mataji, if that's okay.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advait Gadadhar Shri Vasni Gaur